Hello everyone, welcome to another PGA Tour betting preview. This time it is for this week's Workday Charity Open. Now right off the bat, you're probably wondering, why am I wearing a hat? Well, if you remember last week, my hair was a mess. I hadn't got a cut all quarantine. So this past weekend I was actually visiting some family, and I briefly mentioned that I wish I knew someone that could cut my hair so that I wouldn't have to go to the barber, worry about wearing the mask while my hair is getting cut, spending money, all that stuff. So my mom immediately was like, oh, I can cut your hair. So I was like, oh, great. Perfect. I trusted her, figured she knew what she was doing if she was going to volunteer that confidently. So I let her cut my hair, and long story short, she didn't know what she was doing, and now I'm bald. So I hope my bald head doesn't distract you guys in this video. I did turn down the light a little bit so that hopefully it won't reflect as much of my white bald head and blind you guys. But enough about my hair. Let's get into the betting preview for the Workday Charity Open. As always, if you're only interested in my picks, see the chapters here in the timeline below. Just go ahead and skip ahead to my picks if that's all you're here for. But you should stick around because I have a lot to get into because there's a lot to say about the Workday Charity Open being held at Muirfield Village. Last thing I got to say before I get into it, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go ahead and click the subscribe button below to make sure you don't miss any of these PGA Tour betting previews or any of the other videos that we put out on an almost daily basis. Okay, let's get into my betting preview for the Workday Charity Open. The main thing I have to mention that we have to talk about is the fact that something's happening these next 2 weeks on the PGA Tour that I don't think has ever happened, or at least in my memory. We're going to get back-to-back weeks, back-to-back events held at the exact same course. So this weekend was supposed to be the John Deere Classic. That event was canceled, so they threw this Workday Charity Open together at the Muirfield Village. As you may know, Muirfield Village is usually home to the Memorial Tournament, one of the bigger non-majors of the year. That's going to be held next weekend at this exact same course, obviously, because the Workday Charity Open is going to be held here. So the word is that they are going to try to change the course a little bit to make it a little bit easier this week. Apparently, they're going to shorten it a little bit, move the tee boxes up. They're going to cut the rough a little bit shorter so the rough won't be as punishing, and the greens are going to play a little bit slower as well. So it's going to be a little bit tough to handicap because this course is not going to play like it usually does on a yearly basis. And in saying that, I'm going to get into this in a little bit, of course, but my key stats are going to be a little bit more general as opposed to most weeks because I just don't really know what to expect with how they're going to make it a little bit easier this week. All right, so let's get into the top 5 odds to win the event. Last week's winner, Bryson DeChambeau, who is basically breaking golf at this point, is not going to be competing this week. So Justin Thomas is the betting favorite at 12-1. Then we got Brooks Koepka, Jon Rahm, and Patrick Cantlay at 14-1. And then Hideki Matsuyama, who put on a pretty good showing last week, is coming in at 16-1. Main thing to note here, Patrick Cantlay has dominated this course in the past. He won the Memorial at Muirfield Village last year. And if you look at his stats, like all the strokes gained stats, he's basically first in all of them over the past couple of years at this course. So Patrick Cantlay is going to be worth a look. He's not going to be my pick. I'm not betting on him outright, but probably throughout the tournament, I'll probably take him on some round-by-round matchups. All right, so Muirfield Village, it is a par 72. It's usually plays at around 7,300 yards, but it's obviously going to be shorter, but we don't know how much. I assume probably around 7,100 yards. It does have 71 bunkers on the course, though, and there is water in play on 11 holes. So those are some things to keep in mind. But let's get into my 5 key stats for the event if you're going to handicap the event yourself, if you're just going to pick your own golfers, if you're going to do daily fantasy lineup, anything like that. Like I mentioned, okay, I'm going to give you guys the first 3 right off the top, and then I'm going to explain them. Strokes gained off the tee, strokes gained approach to the green, and strokes gained putting. Like I mentioned a moment ago, I'm just going to take a step back because I don't 100% know what to expect with the course this week. So we're going to go a little bit more general. Obviously, strokes gained off the tee, that just shows how guys are off the tee. Strokes gained approaching the green, how are they approaching the green, greens and regulation, proximity to hole, things like that. And then strokes gained putting, obviously it's how they are with a flat stick in their hand. That's one that we want to look at every single week. Now the 2 that are going to be a little bit more specific, I'm going to go scrambling percentage next. These are a little bit smaller greens. They can be tough to hit, so getting up and down to save par is going to be important, especially because I expect it's going to be another low scoring event. And then birdie average. And these low scoring events, listen, there's 2 types of golfers. There's golfers that are going to par most of their holes and then toss in a couple birdies. And then you're going to have these other golfers that are a little bit more aggressive. And you look at their scorecard, you're going to see a bunch of birdies, but you're going to see a lot of bogeys as well. Now, because this course is playing a little bit easier than it normally does, I assume that those guys who get a lot of birdies are still going to be able to get a lot of birdies, but some of their bogeys they should hopefully be able to avoid and turn them into pars instead. So I just need guys who are going to score, who are going to get birdies, who are going to shoot under par. We got to get those guys this week. So birdie average, that's the average amount of birdies per round. That's going to be my 5th and final key stat. So there you go. Those are my 5 key stats. Let's get into my 3 golfers that I'm going to be backing this week. The first one, I'm going to go a little bit at the top of the odds board for my first one, and the next 3 are going to be almost completely off the odds board, just way down on it. But my first one's going to be Xander Schauffele. I think he's going to do well this week because his numbers match up to this style of course perfectly. Strokes gained off the tee, 9th. Strokes gained approaching the green, 26th. Strokes gained putting, he's 82nd. So obviously the putting is, if he does have one weak spot, it is putting, but we've seen him get hot with the flat stick in the past, so I know he can putt well. I'm hoping he putts well this week. So strokes gained putting, 82nd. Then scrambling, 20th. Very good at scrambling. And then birdie average, 8th. So he's 8th in the PGA Tour for average birdies per round. That's going to be key this week. I need lots of birdies from Xander Schauffele. Let's take a look at his odds. He is 18 to 1 to win. I'm not going to take him to win, at least not now. I may sprinkle on him on his live odds, maybe after the first or second round if he plays well. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take him top 5 at plus 400. I'm also going to take him top 10 at plus 185. And then he is available at top 20, minus 125 if you want to get really conservative. I'm not going to take that. So there you go. That's my first pick is going to be Xander Schauffele, top 5 and top 10. My second bet for the Workday Charity Open, I'm going to go, like I said, these next 2 are a little bit off the board. I'm going to go with Maverick McNeely for my second pick. Don't forget, this guy just finished tied for 8th last week at the Rocket Mortgage Classic, so we know he's in good form. Let's take a look at his numbers here. Strokes gained off the tee is 84th. Strokes gained approaching the green, he's 123rd, which obviously that's the stat that gives me a little bit of concern, but when he finished tied for 8th at the Rocket Mortgage Classic last week, he was 32nd in this stat. So hopefully he's figured something out and he's starting to get a little bit better in approaching the green. Strokes gained putting, 14th. Very, very good, and even better scrambling percentage. He's 11th. So a guy with these odds to be 14th in those 2 extremely important categories. I love that. And then birdie average, he's tied for 20th. So he knows how to get birdies as well. Let's take a look at his odds. Like I said, the value's off the board with this guy. It's insane. Maverick McNeely to win, 125 to 1. Am I going to do that? No. Am I going to take him top 5? No, but you can if you want. He's 16 to 1 to finish top 5. Top 10, he's plus 750. And then top 20, he's plus 330. Call me a wimp, but I'm going to be a little bit conservative here with Mr. McNeely. I'm just going to take him to finish in the top 20 at plus 330, but best of luck if you do get a little bit more aggressive with him. But if you're looking for an even longer shot than Maverick McNeely, I got the perfect guy for you here. Let's go with Carlos Ortiz for my 3rd and final pick here. Let's look at his numbers because they're actually pretty impressive considering his odds. So he's tied for 122nd strokes gained off the tee, 54th in strokes gained approaching the green. That's pretty good, guys. Strokes gained putting, 84th, so he's about average as a putter. Scrambling percentage, 26th. That's very good. And then birdie average, he's tied for 50th. So that's pretty good as well. Normally, I mean, if his odds were something like 50 to 1, I wouldn't love it. But let's look at his odds right now. To win the whole damn thing, Carlos Ortiz, 250 to 1. I'm not doing that though. Top 5, he's 33 to 1. Top 10, he's 16 to 1. But top 20, this is where the value's at. For Carlos Ortiz to finish in the top 20, he's plus 750. I love that price on a guy whose numbers are pretty good, to be honest. He's above average in all 5 that I listed, and then he's near the top there in scrambling percentage and in birdie average. So there you go. There is my betting preview for this week's Workday Charity Open, as well as my 5 key stats and my 3 picks. And hey, you got to laugh at me with my bald head now. If you do decide to bet on the tournament, best of luck. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel right here. You can click the button below, or you're going to be able to click our logo on one of the 2 sides of me. I don't know what side it's going to be on. But best of luck and enjoy the Workday Charity Open.